Hey everyone, my name is Mike Sipos and I'm the UF Extension Florida Sea Grant Agent in Collier County. And today I'm going to fillet one of the most iconic pelagic species out there. It has a worldwide distribution, many names for it. Super popular because they're super pretty. I have it on my cup. It's my license plate. And it's right over here, and that is the Mahi-Mahi or the Dorado or Dolphin fish. So they have many names because they're found all over the place, but if you want to please read the description. I include plenty of information that I can't cover in the video because there's not enough time, as well as please take the survey linked in the description. It helps us justify my free time going out there catching these fish, and then my work time making these videos and researching them for y'all. So please take the survey linked in the description, read the description, watch the video to learn more fun facts about this species and how to fillet them. So I'm going to go ahead and move the camera so you can get a better look at my hands, and we'll get started. Okay guys, so let's get started. So to give you an idea of scale for this fish is 4.9 pounds and has a fork length, which is from the snout over here to this area, of 26 inches, and then maximum total length, which is a pinch tail measurement, of 31 inches. But for this species, it's important to keep in mind that fork length because it's what they use for regulations. But yeah, I said that this is one of the fastest growing fish in the ocean, and it definitely is. They only live about 5 years, and at that rate, they can get up to 87 pounds. So that's the world record for this fish. The IGFA world record is 87 pounds, and that was caught in 1976 in Costa Rica. And in Florida, the world record, or the Florida record for this fish is 81 pounds, and that was caught in 2007 in Lantana. So this fish has a worldwide distribution in temperate and tropical seas. You know, they can be found all the way up to Massachusetts area, you know, following the Gulf Stream, you know, down southern Australia. So there's plenty of names out there for them. I like to call them mahi. A lot of people like to call them mahi, and you might hear mahi-mahi. And the reason they say that, like the 2 times, is mahi means strong in Hawaiian, and by saying it twice, it emphasizes like how strong these fish are. So they're really strong. You know, they're a really compressed fish, not very wide, but they have a really, you know, like sort of wide body pattern this way, which just allows them to move through the water like a paddle, like really fast and really strong. They're awesome. I don't really catch them too much in the Gulf. You catch them more so in the Atlantic. You could catch them in like the northern Gulf, but Southwest Florida, we're only lucky enough to see them maybe 2 or 3 times a year, just depending if you find floating debris. So these are pelagic fish. They can be found in, you know, 100 foot of water to a couple thousand feet of water. I think they said about 30% of the ocean's surface can be a home for a mahi-mahi, and then 15 additional percent during season. So if there's like sargassum weed out there, and it was sort of thought that there might be up to 40% of the ocean capable of holding these fish due to climate change. But they're one of the fastest growing fish out there. Like I said, 87 pounds. That's a male size. Females don't get as big, but they can grow to spawning size in about 4 to 5 months, and they can begin spawning at 8 inches. And in a study in Texas, they actually found that females, 50% maturity, and you know, I think about 200 females was at 16 and 16.3 inches, so considerably smaller than this fish. That would probably be right here, and that was about I think 114 days post-hatch, so that's really quick. And then males, the average size of 50% maturity, so 50% of the population maturing, was at 19.6 inches and 137 days old. So that's really, really quick. But I'm gonna go ahead and start filleting it so I don't pepper in too much facts. With this fish, you know, a lot of pelagic species, they have a really reduced skeleton because they're never really going to be touching the bottom or anything. So they're super easy to fillet, but they're hard to skin. And I've seen plenty of videos out there where guys pull the skin off of the fillet, and I'm going to try to do that on one side. I've maybe done it once or twice before, it's been years, and then I'm going to fillet the other side regularly. So it's important with this fish to you know, go all the way up to the head. So this one right here is probably a female. once they get to that, 8-pound range, 10-pound range, you'll have a lot of sexual dimorphism where males look different than females. Males are called bulls. They'll have a really steep sloping head, while females will like taper off, and this one looks like it's tapering. So it's 99% a female, if I was to say. So I am outlining this fish right here. I'm gonna do both the top and the bottom if I'm going to try to pull the skin off on this one first. So I'm doing this so when I pull, it will go ahead and try to come off in one whole sheet. And I might fail on it, but let's try something new, right? So this fish, since it has such a huge distribution, you could find these in Australia, South America, California, I think all the way up to like Oregon area and stuff. They have so many names for them. So they call them Mahi, and like the Pacific area, they call them Dorado. In a lot of areas that might have been, Spanish-speaking areas, because Dorado is golden, and these fish have this beautiful golden sort of iridescent green color that fades when they die. And the reason they fade is because a lot of less complex kind of invertebrates. Okay, so I outlined it, and I'm gonna go ahead and try to pull the skin back and see how that fillet looks. So some people use pliers. Oh, nice. That worked out pretty well. Nice. So this is one whole sheet of mahi skin. You can see a little bit of that red, it'll cook off. Maybe on a larger dolphin you would want to try to trim it up a little bit, but that looks perfect and super easy. Oh, and remember how I said it was a female? So this one actually has roe in it. So these are the gonads, and it was most likely, yep, I was gonna spawn during time. So these fish could actually spawn in tropical seas. They think they could spawn year-round because they find juvenile and larvae mahi throughout the year in those areas. So they have to come from someplace. So this is an ovary. You can see them with all these little eggs inside. I'm gonna go ahead and take this fillet off the actual skeleton. And you have to be careful not to sort of cut through the other side, because like I said, a lot of these pelagic fish will have like a really reduced kind of skeleton because they're not bumping into anything. They are floating in the ocean, and you can cut through the ribs pretty easy, or cut through the other side if you're using a heavy hand. Pulling that up, getting a little cut. And lifting and pulling up. So this is one whole slab of mahi. Looks beautiful. Now let's do the other side, the traditional way of trying to cut the skin off instead of pulling the skin off, and we can see how that fillet turns out. I'm gonna pull it, I'm gonna cut along the side, cutting all the way up to the head, to not forget that head meat, and cutting down. Oh, so back to color. People have melanocytes, which are pigment-containing cells, like invertebrates, fish, lizards, birds. They have something called chromatophores, and these things sort of operate either through like refractive indexes, like the iridophores and I think leucophores. They sort of are reflective, and mahi has plenty of those. And then there's other kind of chromatophores, depending on the kind of pigment that they contain. So, there's red ones, there's more yellow ones, there's melanophores, which are going to be the browns and blacks containing pigments, and they operate with the fish's central nervous system. So when it's alive, these pigment-containing cells can sort of expand to produce the pigment closer to the surface. They're located in the skin of the fish, or contract and sort of blanch out a little bit. And once that fish dies, then that muscle kind of contraction that they have to to change the chromatophores, and in that case the iridophores, because those have that reflective sheen that a lot of people like looking at. Those stop operating. So I'm going ahead and cutting this fillet, skimming the backbone, pulling the mahi carcass this way, skimming the backbone, poking it through, going over, up. And you know, actually, like if you're looking at colors like blues, a lot of times in the animal world, the blue is actually has to do with a lot of light refraction, more so than like the actual pigment, because there's not too many blue pigments. Maybe some of like the cyanins in like invertebrate blood, like if you ever heard of like hemocyanin, that's like a copper-based kind of blood thing, while we have hemoglobin. So those will be more blue. But if you want to look at like a bird feather and it's blue and you hold it really close up to a light, it won't really look blue on a lot of species out there, because it's all about how the light is bouncing off the structure of what is containing some of those pigments. So I am going to try to do the traditional way of skinning, which is that sawing, pulling, and going up and down motion. You know, bringing it closer to the edge, hovering my tip, my knife handle across the edge, and then I'm hovering maybe about a millimeter or two above the skin to prevent from cutting it. So, like I said, a lot of these pelagic species will be harder to skin but easier to fillet, because they don't really have as many bones, but they'll have the scales on their skin aren't as tough, so you can't use that as like a backdrop. Sometimes you'll cut through it. But here's one fillet. Actually left a little bit of meat on the skin, but it's super white. Here's the one that I actually pulled off. You can see a little bit more of that sinew, get a little bit better of a yield. I'm gonna go ahead and take out those Y bones, because you can still have like the ribs in this case, and then we'll be done. So sort of feel with your finger where these bones start. They'll be pretty far back with the mahi since they're so elongated. Cut on either side of them, and then remove. So that's one cleaned up fillet. Probably gonna trim it up a little bit more before I eat it, you know, cut out some of that red, but that is what you would get at the store. And then let's go on the other side here. Cut on either side of those rib bones, and then we'll be done. But yeah, please read the description. There's gonna be a lot more information in there that I didn't have enough time to talk about while I am cutting up this fish. And then, you know, please take that survey linked in the description. Tell us how we did, helps us justify our time, gets our numbers for what we have to report and everything. And yeah, thanks for watching, and stay tuned for some new episodes of Fish Fillet Friday.